The 40% Rule. David Goggins and the voice inside your head that wants you to quit. Have you ever been so close to quitting, that your own mind started negotiating with you? You're studying for an important exam. Your body is exhausted. Your brain is overloaded. And suddenly, a voice appears. That's enough. You've done enough today. You're tired. Finish it tomorrow. And here's what's terrifying, that voice doesn't sound like an enemy. It sounds like you. But what if I told you, that the voice telling you to stop, isn't always telling you the truth? What if your brain is sometimes trying to protect you from something that isn't actually dangerous, because there is a part of your mind whose entire job is to keep you comfortable? And the moment discomfort begins, it starts pulling the emergency brake. David Goggins learned how to recognize that voice. And more importantly, he learned how to stop obeying it. The man who once weighed nearly 300 pounds, who lived through poverty, abuse, racism, and depression, eventually transformed himself into a Navy SEAL, an Army Ranger, an endurance athlete, and one of the most famous examples of extreme mental toughness. But here's the part that matters to you. You don't need to become David Goggins. You don't need to run 100 miles. You don't need to join the military. You don't need to destroy yourself. You need to understand one thing: your mind will often ask you to quit before you've actually reached your limit. And once you understand that, you can start changing your relationship with discomfort. So let's go inside the mind of David Goggins. Because the first battle isn't happening outside you. It's happening inside your head. Your brain doesn't care about your dream. Let's start with something uncomfortable. Your brain doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care whether you become rich. It doesn't care whether you pass the exam. It doesn't care whether you build a successful business. Its first responsibility is much simpler: keep you alive. For thousands of years, humans lived in environments where energy was precious. If you wasted too much energy, you might not have enough to survive tomorrow. So your brain became extremely good at one thing: avoid unnecessary discomfort. And that system is still inside you. The problem: your brain doesn't always understand the difference between danger and discomfort. Studying for another hour isn't a tiger. Going to the gym isn't a predator. Finishing your project isn't a life-threatening situation. But when something becomes uncomfortable, your brain can still send the same basic message: stop. Your heart rate rises. Your motivation disappears. Your body suddenly feels heavier. Your thoughts become negative. And then, you start looking for an excuse. I'll do it tomorrow. I need a break. I've done enough. I'll start again on Monday. And you believe it. That's the trap. Because sometimes, your body isn't saying, I can't. Your brain is simply saying, I don't want to. And those two sentences are completely different. The 40% Rule. This is where David Goggins became obsessed with one idea: the 40% Rule. The principle is simple. When you feel like you've reached your absolute limit, your perception of that limit may be far ahead of your actual capacity. The famous 40% figure should not be treated as a precise scientific measurement. It's a mental model. A way of reminding yourself, feeling finished doesn't necessarily mean you're finished. Imagine a car with a speed limiter. The engine might be capable of more, but the system prevents it from going faster. Why protection? Your brain can do something similar. You are studying, and suddenly you feel exhausted. You're working, and your concentration starts fading. You're running, and your legs begin to burn. Your brain says, "Stop." But instead of immediately obeying, ask one question: am I truly at my limit, or am I simply uncomfortable? That question creates a gap. And inside that gap, you get a choice: quit, or continue. And you don't need to continue for another 3 hours. You don't need some heroic effort. Try 5 minutes. Just 5. When your brain says, "Stop," you say, "5 more minutes." That's it. 5 more minutes. Because every time you stay in a controlled discomfort, you teach your brain something new. You teach it, this feeling is not an emergency. The accountability mirror. But there's a bigger problem. You can't become mentally stronger while lying to yourself. And this is where Goggins' accountability mirror comes in. Look at yourself. No excuses. No stories. No pretending. If you're wasting your time, admit it. If you're procrastinating, admit it. If you're out of shape, admit it. If you're blaming everyone else, admit it. Not because you should hate yourself. Because honesty creates control. Think about it. If you tell yourself, "I have no time," you don't have to change anything. But if you say, "I'm spending 2 hours every night scrolling instead of working," now you have a problem you can actually solve. That's accountability. You stop asking, "Whose fault is this?" and you start asking, "What can I do about it?" That's a completely different mindset. The moment you take responsibility, you stop being a passenger in your own life. You become the driver. Build mental calluses. Now think about your hands. The first time you lift weights, your hands hurt. The first time you work with rough equipment, your skin becomes irritated. Maybe you develop blisters. But if you keep going, your skin adapts. It becomes thicker, stronger, more resistant. That's a callus. And your mind can develop calluses too. Every difficult conversation, every uncomfortable workout, every difficult chapter you finish, every time you do something you don't feel like doing, is another opportunity to strengthen your psychological tolerance. This doesn't mean you should intentionally destroy yourself. It means you should stop treating discomfort as something you must always escape. Wake up early. Finish the difficult task. Do the work before you feel motivated. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Stay focused when your phone is calling your name. These moments look small, but they're not. Because every small act of discipline is teaching your identity, "I do what I said I would do." And eventually, discipline stops feeling like something you're forcing. It becomes who you are. The cookie jar. But what happens when life hits you with something bigger? What happens when you're genuinely exhausted, when you're disappointed, when everything you've worked for seems to be collapsing? That's when Goggins uses another powerful concept, the cookie jar. Imagine a mental jar. Inside it, you store evidence. Every difficult thing you've survived. Every failure you recovered from. Every goal you achieved when you thought you couldn't. Every moment when you wanted to quit, but didn't. That's your cookie jar. And when life becomes dark, you reach into it. You remind yourself, "I've survived before." Think about Goggins. He remembers the man he used to be. Nearly 300 pounds. Unhappy. Lost. Without direction. Then he remembers who he became. He remembers the brutal training. The pain. The failures. The moments when he had every reason to quit, but continued. Those memories become evidence. And evidence is powerful. Because confidence can disappear. Motivation can disappear. But evidence remains. You can tell yourself, I am capable. But that's just a statement. It's much more powerful to say, I know I'm capable, because I've already done hard things. That's your cookie jar. When someone wants to break you. Sometimes, the source of your pain isn't your own mind. It's another person. A toxic manager. A difficult teacher. A competitor. Someone who wants to see you fail. Goggins developed a mindset for these situations too. Instead of allowing another person's behavior to control your emotions, you control your response. Imagine someone expects you to fail. They want you frustrated. They want you angry. They want you to quit. Don't give them that satisfaction. Don't waste your energy trying to prove them wrong with words. Prove it with your behavior. Become so disciplined, so focused, so consistent, that your results speak for you. Your teacher gives you an impossible project, don't complain. Build something exceptional. Your boss doubts you, become undeniable. Someone thinks you're weak, don't argue. Become stronger. Not for them. For you. Because the moment someone else can control your emotions, they have control over you. And mental toughness means taking that control back. The most dangerous trap. Now here's the trap almost nobody talks about. Failure can make you hungry, but success can make you comfortable. You finally lose the weight. You pass the exam. You get the promotion. Your business starts making money. And then, your brain whispers, you've made it. Relax. You've proven yourself. And slowly, you stop doing the things that created your success. You stop training. You stop learning. You stop pushing. You stop challenging yourself. And eventually, the person you worked so hard to escape, starts coming back. That's why Goggins talks about being never finished. Not because you should live in misery. Not because you should never rest. But because there